My name is Sheri Walsh, and I'm from Springfield, Missouri. I've lived here almost all my life, love it. I met Chris in band, freshman year of high school. The thing that I love most, and this sounds super cheesy, but he loved his mom, and he was a little embarrassed because she would come to the marching band events and like holler, and he's like, "Oh, Mom," and it just was the cutest thing. He was the first and only guy I liked, and I waited about a year and told him we were dating, and and then we were together ever since. So after high school, Chris joined the military in the Army Reserves, and he served 2 tours. He went to Kuwait and Afghanistan, and he left that second time right after our daughter was born. So he was gone her whole first year, which was a little sad. The first time he went to serve, I was very nervous. I mean, like a lot of people, my introduction into the military kind of life was 9/11. You know, we were in middle school when that happened, and he wanted to join. He knew that when he graduated high school, that's what he wanted to do. He had family in the military. So after the first tour, Chris came home and we started a life together. We moved into our first house together, and we had our daughter, Morgan, and that was in 2010 we had her. I remember the first time Chris held her because he was not an emotional person as far as like crying or showing, you know. He picked her up and his eyes were watering, and I remember just thinking like I'd picked the best father for my daughter because he was so in love with her from the very beginning. Yeah, so after the second tour, when he came home, unfortunately the job he had, they closed down, so he had to find a new job. And then in August of 2016, he was able to join the police academy. He was really excited, and he officially became a police officer in February of 2017. On March 15th, Chris and I and Morgan, we had this really amazing day. We took family photos, and it was kind of this perfect day to the point where Chris was like, wow, this was a really good day. And we were really excited because we were going to be adopting. We needed outlet covers, you know, things that you have to check the boxes to adopt. And I was really scared I wasn't going to be able to get things done in time. And so Chris offered to stay home, like call in basically, and help me get everything ready. And it was getting close to time for where he would need to leave, and he started pacing. He hated calling in. He wanted to do his duty. So I told him, I was like, look, you don't have to, we'll get it done. We just won't sleep the next couple nights. It'll be fine. So I told him, you know, go ahead and go to work. It'll be okay. And this was pretty late in the evening, and I went to bed around 1:30 after I'd done all my work, and I hadn't been in bed for very long, and I heard a knock at the door, and that was obviously a little alarming to get a knock at the door that late at night. So I went downstairs and I looked through the peephole, and I saw a Springfield police officer, and I saw Chris's best friend, who was also a police officer. And as soon as I saw him, I knew it was not news I wanted to hear. And they knocked again, and I heard his friend say, "Sheri, you gotta open up. We need to talk." And I opened the door and I saw his wife was there. And for a second I thought maybe he's gonna say, "We need to get to the hospital." And so I opened the door, hoping that's what he was gonna say. But when I saw his wife, I knew there was no real reason for her to be there. And so I just walked away. I was like, don't say anything, don't say anything. And he walked in and he told me there was an incident and Chris was shot. And I just remember I must have like gone to the ground because I remember looking up, and I remember his hands clenching and unclenching, and he said, "Chris is dead." And I just remember just saying no, like, no, that's not right. That can't be right. And then his wife came and helped me, and we were crying, and all of a sudden I looked up and my daughter was standing at the top of the stairs. And I waved her down. I was like, "Hey baby, come here." And as soon as she started walking down, I turned to Sarah and I said, "I don't know what I'm gonna say." And I just remember her hair was curly because we had just taken family photos, and her eyes got really big. And I just said, "I'm sorry, your dad's dead." And I just kept saying, "I'm sorry," because I felt that if I hadn't told him to go to work that night, that he would still be there. So I just kept telling her I'm sorry. And it took her quite a while. She was 9 years old, so it took her quite a while to really kind of accept the fact that this was our new reality. Dad wasn't coming home. We weren't going to be adopting. It was, everything had changed, and it started to kind of settle into a new routine where instead of kissing Dad goodbye before bed, her and I would tell stories before bed, and we would do a thing, what will you dream about tonight? And so we would explain these really intricate dreams, that we were going to have really good dreams and that we were going to be together. So when Tunnels to Towers came into my life, it was through the police union here in the area. They'd already done the research. They got in touch with one of my close friends. I'll never forget, I was actually driving to see Chris at the grave, which I did about weekly in the first couple months. And Priscilla called me and she's like, hey, I just wanted to let you know you and your family are going to be able to keep your house. And I had to pull over and I just started crying, and she was so sweet. She let me just sit there, cry on the phone with her. She's a complete stranger, and she just said, okay, honey, it's okay, it's okay. Then I kind of gathered myself and I drove and I went and I told Chris, I was like, hey, you don't have to worry about us, at least in this way. We got the house taken care of. I'd spent a lot of time homeless as a kid. In fact, Chris came and picked me up for our first dance. He came and picked me up and had to check me out of the homeless shelter I was staying at. So home security was really important to me, and being able to offer my daughter that stability in a life that already changed so much. I can't really overstate how much it meant to me. When I got to tell her, I'm like, hey, you don't have to worry, like, you know, I know you were afraid of like, how are we gonna pay the bills? She's a very practical child. I was like, but at least in this, we don't have to worry about it. I would love to say thank you. The foundation has made a huge impact on our lives. I get to continue to do what Chris and I planned, and I get to continue to offer that security to my daughter. It's been an amazing gift that I will carry with me for the rest of my life, and I get to tell as many people as I can think of about how amazing it's been to us.